Here with head men's basketball coach Blake Mellinger, enjoying a few days off between games. You guys get a week break between the last game at Limestone on Saturday before this upcoming game this Saturday, December 9th against Newberry, another conference matchup. Let's start with an update on the injury report, Blake, because I think a lot of people that tuned in to that Limestone game obviously noticed that Ron Uka was back, but still no Deuce Wingfield. And that feels like a game that you guys had a good chance to win without him. And it's, hard not to imagine how that game would have gone had he been on the floor. Just what's the latest on Deuce, how he's doing coming back, and if you guys are going to expect him back sometime soon.
Yeah, honestly, he's still a little banged up. We don't have a great timeline. He tried to practice a little bit yesterday and wasn't able to complete practice. So I don't know the exact details of the injury. I think it's a hip pointer, so it's just one of those things like just takes time for it to heal. So I don't have a great answer for Saturday. I think a lot of it just kind of depends on how he's feeling. But yeah, there's no question we need to get him back. He's definitely a difference maker in a lot of different ways with just the things he brings to the floor. So hopefully, the sooner we get him back, the better.
And obviously, had you had him on Saturday, it would have been very beneficial on the road the first time this season. Obviously, it's a conference game against Limestone, tough building to play in, loud, good energy, despite being one of the smaller places in the league. And it feels like, that was a Limestone team that was very athletic. It was tough for you guys to get to the basket on some dribble drives. Deuce probably would have helped in that area. In that loss, what else do you think might have gone wrong, and just, what led to that loss that night?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that necessarily anything really went wrong. I thought it's two pretty evenly matched teams, and I thought they just made a few more plays than we did. I didn't think it was their best offensive game. Like, we held them to, I think it was right at 40% or maybe just under it. So, if you hold a team to that shooting percentage, we should expect to win the game. We weren't quite as crisp or sharp offensively as I would have liked to have been. And as a result, I don't think our shot quality was as good as it could have been. And then, we turned it over a little too much again. That's kind of been a, common theme in these close games. Like, need to take a little bit better care of the basketball. And I think if we had done that, then, we could have come out on the other side of it.
And so with the loss, you guys are now 4-4 on the season. You've traded wins and losses every game since the start of the year. How difficult is that, not really being able to develop any rhythm? Obviously, you want it to be a win streak that you go off on, but that just hasn't worked out yet. And what do you think needs to happen moving forward in order to rattle off 2, 3, 4, 5 wins in a row?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just finding consistency. Whether it be offensively, defensively, individually, collectively, whatever it may be. I do think that, our defense has been a little more consistent these last few games, which is good. That's promising. Now we need to get the offense to come along with it. Like, we'll have a game where we play really, really well offensively, and then, we'll follow it up with a game that, I would consider from an offensive standpoint pretty mediocre. And, we don't have to be great offensively every night to give ourselves a chance to win. I think our defense is sound enough at this point to where, like, if we just score the ball at a reasonable clip, we're going to have a chance to win most games. But I think it's just, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, just finding consistency, both as a group and then, individually. We need, 2 or 3 guys to give us persistent production every single night.
So other than the Christmas break that you guys get, this is one of the longest stretches of days without a game that you guys will have this season, 7 days in between the games. That's because of exam week this week for you guys. What are some of the challenges that, a basketball team faces with exams being, right in the early part of the season and scheduling games and practices and meeting with players and stuff like that around this time of year?
I think it's just more than anything, it's the mental toll that it takes on your players. Like, we gave the guys a couple of days off, gave them off Sunday and Monday so they could focus strictly on their finals. But even like coming into practice, like, guys are tired, and it's not necessarily because they're tired physically from anything they've done from a physical standpoint, just the mental toll that, finals can take on, these guys individually again. So, we've weathered the storm. Like, guys have done a decent job. I think for the most part, we've got a couple more that maybe having a final on Friday, but we're pretty much finished at this point. So, we're ready to get back to basketball.
So obviously a very big game Saturday against Newberry in the sense that you guys obviously do not want to fall behind 0-3 in conference play to start the year. That's a Newberry team that's currently right with you guys near the bottom of the standing. Some of the stats don't necessarily grade out well for them, but they do some things well. What are some keys to a victory against the Wolves on Saturday?
Yeah, the thing about them is they're always really well coached. Seems like no matter how good either team is, like every time we play them, it's, for the most part, over the course of however many years we've been in this league, with the exception of a couple games, it's come down to like a 1 or 2 possession game. I think a couple of the factors for us, like going into the game, is the pace of the game. Like, they play pretty slow. They kind of grind you a little bit, and we want to get up and down. So I think that's going to be a big factor. And then, like, they're a really good offensive rebounding team, and have been for a good while now. So we've got to keep them off the offensive glass. And then defensively, they do a really good job. They're hard to score against. Like, we'll have to be sharp. We'll have to execute well. We'll have to screen well. Um, but I think it's nothing we haven't seen, nothing we don't expect. And I feel like we have a really good game plan going into Saturday. We just have to go out and execute it. And I think if we do that, we'll be in good shape.
Well, fans, you can catch that game at the Pryor Center December 9th. That's Saturday at 4 p.m. right after the women's game, or you can catch it on Flow Sports at the same time. Blake, thank you very much. Good luck on Saturday, and we'll see you then.
Thank you.